Hey guys, I'm Sarah and I'm going to be sharing with you guys what Jesus revealed to me at Beach Retreat 2015. I knew we were going to Beach Retreat and originally I wasn't planning on going, but God did everything possible to make it happen with moving tests around and moving papers. And Alexis Blake told me, you need to come expecting. You can't just come. You have to come expecting. You have to expect that God is going to do big things. And I prayed, God, I pray that as I go to Beach Retreat, Lord, that you would show me something, that you would revive my spirit or something, Lord, because I'm done. When we went out to pray, I went really far down the beach and I just wanted to be alone with God, and it was so fake at first. I just sat in the sand and tried making out what God was gonna tell me, and that verse came to my mind, which is be still and know that I'm God. And so I was just still and I listened, and I heard God call me out to go into the water. So I walked out to the water and I just kind of stood there, and I was like, God, what do you want from me? Why am I here? And I just kind of stood there, and then something just prompted my spirit, and I was so burdened and so heavy, and I kind of just threw out my arms and was like, God, what do you want from me? Like, I'm pleading with you. So as I was standing out in the water and I was calling out to the Lord, and I said, Lord, is that you? Is that you? And after I realized that this fear was consuming me, and that's what was consuming my life, I had looked down and I was shaking. I was so afraid and I felt so condemned. And I looked up right in front of me beyond the water, and all I could see was darkness. But then way off in the distance, I saw this glowing light just coming towards me, like it was Jesus walking to Peter on the water. And I was consumed with peace and with love and grace and mercy, and just knowing that, like, I'm not condemned for everything. And the fact that it took this much for God to show me, all he wanted was for me to surrender myself and surrender all my burdens and everything I am, and know that it's not of my sufficiency but of Christ's sufficiency, that it's nothing I could do but everything that Christ had already done for me, and that all I need to do is obey and to trust and have the faith that God is going to carry me through these things, and that I'm really not walking alone. And I felt God telling me to come. And Peter began to sink because he didn't trust God. He couldn't. But Jesus came up and picked him up and brought him back to the boat. And he said, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And before that, in verse 27, it said, "But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, 'Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid.'" And it was everything that I've been running from, is because of this fear, and all God is calling me to do is come. And I wasn't coming. I was stepping back away because I couldn't see his plans, but all he wants is our obedience. And after that, the rest of the night, I was just thinking, Lord, you are just so beautiful. And I can look back at this moment whenever I'm feeling condemned or whenever I'm feeling stressed, and just remember what you did for me this day, and how you just showed me that you're there, that you're always walking with me. And I just need to cry out to the Lord and say, Lord, are you there? Because he will show you, he will. And the next morning, it was really awesome because I was going through the book of Psalms, and I read Psalms 56, and it said, "When I'm afraid, I will put my trust in you. In God whose word I praise. In God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me?" And that was just reconfirmation of everything that God had showed me that night, and just showed me that his word stands true. I can stand firm in his promises, and that there will be times where I will fear, but it's where I'm directing my trust, and I'm putting my trust in the Lord. And man, I fell so in love with God, more than I did even when I first started trying to see who Christ was. And I just found this new love, and I've never seen Christ so clear in my life. And that's everything. If you want to hear from God, go to His Word, and be in prayer, and don't be afraid to show God and lay your burdens down and tell Him your sins, because He already knows. He just wants to hear it.